Well, hey folks, Captain Dave in the shop here. I'm going to show you something. It's kind of an update video, I guess you could say, just to let people know. I got this years ago. I got sent this by Engel, E-N-G-E-L. Same people who make coolers, roto-molded coolers. And this is their rechargeable aerator box. That's where the hose goes. And they send you a stone. And it's really worked. I mean, this thing just goes and goes. And what it has is you can change where it will run and then stop for 30 seconds or I don't know how long. And then you can adjust that so you don't burn up the batteries. Well, I've never burned up the battery in here, ever. There's a rechargeable battery. Right there is where you can plug in a USB. It's got this nice little hook on the back. It's made to go in their Engel live well boxes that they build, that they make, that everybody in the Brothers copied already. Frable has copied it. Everybody's copied it. Well, I've been having the damnedest time. Last time I took out Traveler Bob. That's the day it started. I didn't realize, me and my buddy Nick, we were sitting around drinking beers talking about it. I mean, I never really read the directions on this thing. It's kind of like, you know, when you're married and your wife's having you put something together, you know, some IKEA furniture or something stupid, and you take the directions and throw them away, and then you get down and you're like, how's this go together? And the wife has to come over and tell you, hey, did you read the directions, you stupid? You know, and you're like, no. So that's how I was with this. But you can turn it on right here. Let me hit the button. And now it's on. Okay, you get all the lights. But if you push this button over here far to the my right, you push that button and see how it flashed that it's very subtle. And then you flash again and it goes like boom, boom, boom. You're going into, I don't know how to say it. You're going into the power of it, I guess. So then, when I hit the button again, it flashes that second light right there. God dang. That second light right there at my finger. And then you push it and it goes to the third light and then the fourth light, whatever. And we figured out that I had this all the way in the lowest setting. And my shrimp were dying within an hour or two. And I just couldn't figure it out because I was keeping shrimp just fine for, you know, for a long time. And I must have been hitting this because I was playing around with the timer. Over here you see this clock right there. That's where you can adjust the run time and then it turns off. And then it turns back on. Well, this plus and minus is the power, like how strong it's pumping. And I didn't know that. And Nick says, because he's got one, and we were like, what? I didn't even know that existed. This plus and minus. See, there's a plus and a minus, an on and off, and then a timer. So, because I didn't read the directions and I didn't know what the hell I was doing, I've owned this thing for years. Years. And it just keeps working. I charge it up right here on my workbench. So I thought I was in the clear because I took out, I took out a grandpa and a 14-year-old boy. And I took 4 dozen shrimp. And the 4 dozen shrimp lasted all day. We didn't even use them all. Got back at the end of the day and I still had, a half a dozen shrimp swimming around in the live well. And it was run on this all day long. Well then, yesterday, I got 2 local guys on the boat, great guys, a lot of storytelling. Oh my gosh, we're talking tons of storytelling is what was going on. The fishing sucked so bad. I mean, we couldn't even, sometimes we were like up in a creek and we're fishing spots, and I mean the goddamn catfish. Oh, it's just so, I'm just going to leave it that it sucks so bad. And I mean, we go to other places and you wouldn't even be able to give away a shrimp. I mean, so all my shrimp died. I bought, I don't know, I think I bought 5 dozen, but they probably gave me 7. I had way more shrimp than I really needed. And I never touched this at all. And the shrimp died within 2 hours. I don't know if this got bumped, but I took a piece of black tape and I put it over this plus and minus button so maybe it wouldn't get bumped or something like that. But I don't know what happened. So, I mean, if I ever read the damn aerator itself, it says, on this side where the clock is, it says intermittent. Intermittent. Then the middle button says power. Then the button over on this side says 4 speeds. Well, while I was out there, I checked it. It was on the highest speed. I wasn't using the stone that came with it. Let me show you what I got. I went to B&M Bait and Tackle, and for a whopping $8, where is it? Oh, I think I put it in here. For $8, I got what looks to be a little bit better stone. And I got this little donut stone. Has a suction cup. Boom, sucks right to the bottom. And I don't even know where it's at. The stone that it came with it's a decent stone. I mean, pretty big around, about that big. But this still looked like it might be better, this donut stone. So either way, I want to catch some mullet, and I was not really confident enough in this to get mullet up in a creek. Because I don't want to get, 2 dozen mullet, because that's all I'd really need, and then just have them die. So you see this here? This is a used up oxygen tank. Well, it's not completely used. There's a little bit left in it. I didn't want to have to do this, but I got to go back to USDA grade pure oxygen. So I just don't have the confidence in this. I don't know why the shrimp are easy to keep alive. I mean, they're basically easy to keep alive. You just keep them a little cool, and keep good oxygen going on them. And they're just happy. I mean, they're sitting on the bottom. They're not extending that much energy, you know. But I noticed even when this is going, and I'm not putting a lot of water in my live well space. It's a cooler. It's an icy tech. I'm going to show you here in a minute. I'm putting like this much water in there. Because like when you go to B&M Bait and Tackle and you look in their shrimp tanks, the water's this deep. Shrimp don't need a lot of water. Okay? I mean, they're not fish. They just sit there or they motor around a little bit. They're like little submarines going along. So I don't have trust in this with mullet or any fish. But boy, I'll tell you, when I just re-watched my old video that's got tons and tons of views of when I started doing the oxygen system in my old boat in a big icy tech cooler, a divided cooler. It's right there. It's this one right here. This big icy tech right here has all one lid, but over here it's got a divider. And over here I kept shrimp, and over here I kept croakers and mullet. But that's a little too big for the new boat. It's a little big. So let me show you what the story is now. I didn't want to do this. This was always in the back of my mind, but let me get up there in the boat. So this is my seating, my extra seat. I can move it around in the boat. This is a Icy Tech divided 95 quart. It's the perfect height, everything. I got because I didn't get a measuring tape built into the sea deck, it never even crossed my mind. It never even thought about getting like a measuring tape in the sea deck. You see that all the time. And I guess this was cheaper just to buy this stupid little sticker, and it seems to work just fine. So what you got in this cooler is this space right here. That's what I've been putting the shrimp in. And there's the hole where I come through, and then I put these bungees just to hold some stuff, and the hose comes through here, and I hang right on this little bracket here. I hang the aerator. Now you think that would be just fine, because I'm only putting what, 2 inches of water down in here? That's it. I'm not putting a lot of water in there. And of course this cooler insulates the water, you know, from the sun and everything. It's off the deck. You can see the cooler doesn't even sit on the deck. There's big rubber pads underneath there that keep it up so water and air can go circulate around it. And I'll tell you, the reason I'm into this, and I did this in my old boat, is I had like 6 demo bay boats years and years and years ago. Sea Chaser, Carolina Skiff Sea Chasers. And even at the same time, I had a 23-foot Maycraft. I'm going back beyond 20 years now. And when you're running up and down the St. Johns River, and let's say you're at the jetties 1 minute, and then you want to go way past the Dames Point, which is what, 10, 12 miles? That water, many times, at the jetties, of course, is pure USDA grade ocean. Super saline. I mean, 28 parts per thousand of salt. and you're picking water up and recycling it through your live well in your boat. So a lot of people have learned this because I've seen it on other people's boats. And then there's a lot of people who don't realize this, that fish inshore. Then you run 12 miles up or down river, however you want to call it. It's basically going due west before it hooks to go south. So I just call it downriver. And you're running 12 miles down there, and the salinity is going to be different. And you're basically scooping up the hot water on the surface of the river. Right? So you'd be better off, and a lot of people have done this, I've seen, running aerators like that Ingle or something in your live wells, because a sea chaser 22, 21 foot, what do they call it, bay runner, it had double 20-gallon live wells in the stern, and I would keep one just recirculating water, and I'd have a bubbler in the other one. So when we were at the jetties, I'd fill that up with nice cooler ocean water that's super salty, and then I'd turn that off and I'd throw a bubbler on there and run upriver. So you're just scooping up different salinities of water many times, and you're also just scooping up and putting in your live wells and recirculating that hot river water, that surface. I mean, it's just like the ocean. How many times have you been out in the ocean? I did it when I was a lot younger. I would never do it now because I've seen way too much. But I used to go out with my dad. We'd be 25 miles offshore, and I would just dive off the side of the boat and swim down and swim underneath the boat, and you could feel that temperature change on the surface to down, 15 feet below, and it felt like you were going into the air conditioning, and you'd pop up and it would be warm again. Well, I'm sure the St. Johns River is the same way. It's got multiple levels of probably not only temperature, oxygen, visibility, clarity, everything. Current. We all should know that the St. John's has multiple currents, multiple levels. I mean, you could have the tide coming in on the bottom and the tide still seeming like it's falling on the top. And it's not falling, it's just the current. At the same time, you're sitting there and the water's getting deeper. So, that's a long story for, that's probably why your bait is no good. It's hot, its salinity is changed, and that hot water doesn't hold any oxygen. It really doesn't hold much oxygen. So I didn't want to have to do this, but I'm doing it because I'm losing a space here. So what am I doing? I'm just going to throw my oxygen bottle in on the other side. So I didn't want to have to do this, but there's an oxygen bottle with the regulator just going over here because I'm so tired now of losing my bait, especially if I get mullet. I might be putting 2 dozen mullet in here, and I don't want to lose them because getting live bait and cast netting can be a very time-consuming thing on a charter. Charter's only 6 hours. We start at 7 and we're done at 1. And I mean, that's my rule. Okay, unless we're busting some serious fish, or it's a different time of year. But by 1 o'clock, everybody's petered out. I'm done from the heat. I was just cooked yesterday. I'm just not into the heat. I can't stand this time of year personally, but everybody and their brother wants to go and catch next to nothing compared to going when it's really good. But I am going to end up losing. I keep over here this level with extra ice. Extra ice. So I'll be able to use this for dry storage. People can put their bags of chips or some kind of shit in there, you know, because it doesn't slosh over. So that's what I had to do. That's a ceramic stone. You could sharpen your knife on that if you were in a survival situation. That's truly ceramic and makes just the most finest bubbles, because that tank has a lot of pressure. Okay. And there's no chance of anything here, you know, no chance of it getting knocked over or anything. It's sitting in there nice and secure. We're constantly opening this, okay? So air is recirculating around and everything, so all's good. But I'm losing that where I keep ice. But I mean, it's not such a terrible thing, because I'll show you what I've been doing. And they're working out. I don't want to turn this into a review, but they're working very well. I got these two literal fish bags. They're called buffalo gear. I mean, this is already falling apart here. It's like a little lip when you close the zipper. Let's see if I can do it here. I'll close this. Let's see, bring it out in the light so you can see. When you run the zipper back and forth, it's had this little, see how thin this is? This little thin plastic. That's already getting tore up. And I mean, these bags are, what, a month old? From pulling the zipper? But I mean, no big deal. I fill these about right here with ice. I put fish in them and food and bait, sometimes some bait in there, some dead shrimp or something. And what I've been doing is just taking them and I stick it right down here and it stays nice and out of the way. I'll loop this around there so it don't go nowhere. And they're nice sitting there. You know, I got one here and one there, and they stay right out of the way. We're still stepping back here and fishing and doing everything. But that'll be the only ice that I can really carry. So bait is very expensive now. Shrimp, I mean, good God, I've never really paid attention to how much a dozen shrimp are, you know, but shrimp are now up to $4.99 a dozen. So you do the math. I think I did the math. That's 44 cents a shrimp. And you know how fast you can burn those on bait stealers in the summertime? I mean, we're talking, it's ridiculous. I mean, you take out, when I used to take out like 4 people, and we'd bottom fish or go to the jetties and throw jigs and shrimp or float rig. I commonly took 10 dozen. So at $5 now, that shit's getting expensive. Thank God I only take 2 people. Oh, I can get away with half the amount of bait. You know, everything is better taking 2 people. Everything. Everything is better owning this boat, to tell you the truth. I haven't burned more. I think I burned the most yesterday with 2 people. and myself and a bunch of gear. I think I burned all day yesterday because we did tons of running around looking for fish. I think I burned maybe about 2.5 gallons with my 90 Suzuki. 2.5 gallons versus my old boat would have been 4 people, 100 pounds of ice, all their groceries for Gilligan's Island. God damn. You give the people the opportunity to bring food on a boat. I mean, that's what always gets me. I mean, true fishermen don't treat fishing as going on a picnic. They're going to fish. They need some liquid refreshment, and they might need just a little quickie sandwich, you know, a little bologna and cheese sandwich or something, just to choke that down and get on fishing again. But this time of year, in my old boat, that big cooler in the garage, that 120, I had another one just like that. It was a 200. And that thing, I could only put 6 inches of ice in the bottom because people would mound it full of groceries that when I went to close the door, I mean, the lid wouldn't even close on a 200 quart cooler. People wanted to carry so much shit with them. It's unbelievable. So I'm over that. Been there, done that. I got the t-shirt. So I just wanted to pass on that live well situation. I didn't want to have to do that because I lose that one little section of space in that cooler right there, which also makes a seat. It's a great place to sit when we're just moving from spot to spot. I got usually somebody sitting here next to me. I'm over there. We got big cushions that I even put here to get extra, because the sea deck isn't very, if you got butt bones sticking out, which I'm getting a little butt boned with my ass hurts sometimes sitting here without a cushion. It's better than sitting on hard aluminum though. I still like to have people with a cushion. And somebody sitting on the cooler up there, or they sit up front. So that's what I'm having to do. I'll probably do an update YouTube short or something and see how the bait lasts compared to the Ingle box. Now I can probably go back to the Ingle box in the wintertime. Everything's better in the winter. That's what the tourists don't get. You know, it's really funny. I'll tell you a funny story. I'm into this. This is a great story. I'd go out to the jetties or something, like say right now in July. This is July. Today's the 4th, July 4th. I'm going tomorrow too with 2 guys on the 5th. And we'd be out there and it would be shark, crapfish, one after, sea bass, you know, stingrays, just all the crap. I mean, we're not hunting up sharks. Sometimes I was hunting up the sharks because I'd bring the big tackle. But just when I got some kids or mom and dad, and we'd come back at the end of the day, we'd have lots of action, but the action that we'd have would be not necessarily eating fish by any means. And of course they all think, I'm in Florida, I'm going to catch all these fish and we're going to take them home and we're going to have this giant fish fry. And we'd get back to the dock and I'd throw a loop around the cleat, and the next thing is Dad says to me, so when is the fishing good? Good to them meant they're filling the cooler because they think they're going grocery shopping. And I'd always say, my reaction to them was always, it's good when you're not coming. You're not coming to Jacksonville. You're not going to come here then. Well, when's that? I'd say mid to late October through the first week of May, last week of April. And of course the kids aren't out of school all summer. So they're not coming then. Some people would. I mean, you know, I'd get plenty of people during that time. But as far as the families and stuff like that with the kids is all about summer. Summer kids, summer, you know. So, yeah, you can have some good days in the summer, but stereotypically, it's tough. And at the jetties, these people really weren't expecting to get their ass handed to them by 100-pound sharks, one after another, or big-ass stingrays. They thought they were just going to be pulling up red snappers and groupers and having dolphin jumping behind the boat, which they didn't want to pay that offshore rate. So either way, there's my live bait situation. I got another one of these coming because I figured, okay, I'll just put 2 of them in one live well. Well, I'm not going to do that. I think when I get the second one, I got it off of Amazon. I think I'll probably send it back. I'll return it because I probably don't need 2 of these. Alrighty, so I'll put the links, maybe I'll put the links to my other oxygenated live well project videos in the video description below, if I remember. So, alright, unedited, this is how you're getting it. I don't spend any time editing and all this stuff like I used to. That's the one thing I couldn't stand about doing YouTube videos, is all that editing. Oh my gosh. So, alrighty, thanks for stopping by. Hopefully my bait stays nice and happy.